counting the rootlets. Some people have to keep thinking, what is the mind? What is the heart? All kinds of things, keeping at it, back and forth until they go crazy. They don't understand anything. You don't have to think that far. Just simply ask yourself, what do you have in yourself? There are physical phenomena and mental phenomena. Or there's a body and there's a mind. That's enough. Some people ask, I've heard that the Buddha knew everything. Well, if he knew everything, they practice the Dhamma and start arguing, how many roots does a tree have? The Buddha answers that it has taproots and rootlets. But how many rootlets does it have? That shows they're crazy, right? They want an answer about the rootlets. How many rootlets are there? How many taproots are there? Why do they ask? Well, the Buddha knew everything, didn't he? He'd have to know, all the way to the rootlets. Who would be crazy enough to count them? Do you think the Buddha would be stupid like that? He'd say that there are rootlets and taproots, and that would be enough. It's like cutting our way through the forest. If we felt we had to cut down every tree, all the big trees and all the small trees, we'd be getting out of hand. Would we have to uproot them all in order to get through the forest? We'd cut back just the ones needed to open our way. That's enough. Mr. A and the letter A. When we speak about the Dhamma, it's all a matter of strategy for understanding what's right there. It's matter of suppositions, a strategy. The genuine Dhamma exists, but it's something you can't see. We have to bring in other things so that we contemplate it. It's like a teacher teaching her students, suppose Mr. A has this much money. Mr. A isn't there in the room, so what do? You write down the letter A with a piece of chalk, and you suppose that it's Mr. A. Is it Mr. A? It is as a supposition, but this Mr. A can't run. You can take the letter A and suppose it's Mr. A and that he has this or that much money. It's Mr. A on the level of supposition, but you can't get this Mr. A to run anywhere, for it's just the letter A. It's a letter A that we can use. It's a strategy. You have to understand that the actual Mr. A isn't there, so you have to write the letter A to serve your purpose. What's that? With the Dhamma, it's not the case that you'll awaken because someone else tells you about it. You already know that you can't get serious about asking whether this is that or that is this. These things are really personal. We talk just enough for you to contemplate. It's like a child who's never seen anything. He comes out to the countryside and sees a chicken. Daddy, what's that over there? He sees a duck. Daddy, what's that? He sees a pig. Daddy, what's that over there? The father gets tired of answering. The more he answers, the more the child keeps asking, because it's never seen these things. After a while, the father simply says, If you keep playing along with the child's every question, you die of fatigue. The child doesn't get fatigued. Whatever it sees, what's that? What's this? It never comes to an end. Finally, the father says, when you grow bigger, you'll know for yourself. That's the way it is with meditation. I used to be like that. I really was. But when you understand, there are none of those questions. You've grown up. So be intent on contemplating until you understand. And things will gradually unravel themselves. That's the way it is. Keep watch over yourself as much as you can. Keep watch over yourself as much as you can, to see if you're lying to yourself. That's what's called keeping watch over yourself. The farmer and the cobra. In short, the Dhamma teaches that whatever suffering arises will pass away. There's nothing more than this. There's just suffering arising and suffering passing away. That's all there is, which is why we suffer, why we're in a turmoil in this cycle of wandering on. Why are we in a turmoil? Because we don't know this truth as it actually is. When you don't recognize suffering, you feed it, thinking that it'll be pleasure. But eventually it bites you because it's suffering. It's like the story of the farmer and the cobra. The cobra lies stiff in the cold, and the farmer feels pity for it. He thinks, I have enough kindness to help this animal find some comfort. That's because he doesn't recognize what it is. He doesn't recognize that this is a snake that can bite people. Because he doesn't recognize it, he picks it up and holds it to his chest. As soon as the snake warms up, it bites us. Awakening to the cobra. Most of us, when we hear the words, awakening to the Dhamma, understand that it's something so high and far away that we probably won't awaken in this lifetime. That's how we understand things. Actually, if something is evil and we don't clearly see that it's evil, then we can't abandon it. That means we haven't awakened much to the Dhamma. But if we listen, contemplate, and practice until we see it clearly, we'll see the drawbacks for sure, that thing is evil, and we won't dare ever do it again. We won't dare store it up as seeds to plant again. We'll have to throw it away because we've seen the harm it does. Before we heard that it was evil, and we even said that it was evil, but we still did evil. We still did things that were wrong. That was when we hadn't yet awakened to the Dhamma. When someone awakens to the Dhamma, it's like seeing a cobra, a poisonous snake slithering past. We know that this snake is poisonous, and its poison is dangerous. If it bites anyone, that person will die or suffer horribly. If we see a cobra or a banded crate, we know that its poison is fierce. Anyone it bites will have to die. If he doesn't die, he'll be close to death. This means that we know the snake for what it actually is. We don't dare catch hold of it. No matter who tells us to catch it, we wouldn't dare. This is called awakening to the Dhamma, awakening to the cobra, to the banded crate. We awaken to its poison. It's the same with all forms of evil. If we clearly see the harm they do, it's not hard. We know for ourselves. All I ask is that you keep on practicing, contemplating, and you'll know for yourselves. When you awaken to the Dhamma, the mind will be Dhamma. You'll know the Dhamma. Our responsibilities. When we practice, we're like a man planting a tree. He goes out and gets a tree, digs a hole, puts the tree in the hole, fills the hole with soil, waters it, gives it fertilizer, and keeps it safe from insects. These are our responsibilities. And that's the end of our responsibilities. The responsibility of the tree is to grow. Whether it grows fast or slow, don't force it. If you force it, you suffer. You plant it, and then you think, hey, when is it ever going to grow so that I can get some fruit? As soon as you start complaining, you suffer. Why? Because you don't understand your responsibilities. You take on the responsibilities of others. You take on the responsibilities of the tree. The tree doesn't want anyone to take on its responsibilities. It'll do the work itself. The person has the responsibilities of the person. The owner has the responsibilities of the owner. To keep on watering and fertilizing the tree, to keep on protecting it from insects. That's our duty. If we do the duty of the tree, oh ho, it's really taking a long time to grow. We pull on it to make it tall, to make it grow, and it'll simply die. That's not our duty. It's the same when we practice our precepts well, when we practice concentration well. Discernment will arise. We keep at it gradually, continually, practicing like this, able to think like this, keeping this principle in mind, and we can be at our ease. We and the tree look after each other. The tree will grow healthy and beautiful because we look after it with our practice. As for whether it'll grow fast or slow, leave that to your merit and perfections. But don't abandon it. You have to keep on building your perfections all the time. Cleaning the house. When you construct a house, then when it's finished, only the construction of it is finished, right? The next step is that you have to live in the house and always keep cleaning it. It's not the case that when you finish constructing the house, you can rest at your ease. That's not the case at all. You have to keep cleaning the house continually. It's the same when you practice concentration. When you do concentration, you can't think that you've finished doing it and now you can stop. You have to use your knowledge and mindfulness to be aware of the preoccupations that will disturb and destroy your concentration. You have to know these things. When standing, walking, sitting, and lying down, you have to keep mindfulness in charge at all times. When you finish constructing a house, you can't say that you'll just lie down and rest, you know. When the house gets dirty, what will you do? You'll have to wipe it down and sweep it out, all kinds of things. It's the same when you practice concentration. Getting the mind into concentration isn't hard, but to keep maintaining concentration is hard. Constructing a house isn't hard. In just a few years, you're finished, but you have to keep on cleaning the house for many, many years until it falls apart. As long as you live in it, you have to keep on cleaning it. That's the normal way it is. Better and better. When discernment arises, you can abandon your defilements. As your discernment grows, your behavior will change. You'll abandon your old ways. It's like going into the forest to look for fruit. At first you find some fruit that's not especially good, but even though it's sour, you take it. You carry it in your basket until you find fruits that are better than that. You throw the old fruits out of your basket. It's because you see that the new ones are better that you change what you're carrying. The same with the mind. When you see the harm and drawbacks of your old ways, you keep on abandoning them. The more you look, the more you keep on abandoning. When you practice, you'll think, this is it, this is good. But when you practice further, oh, what happened then wasn't really refined, so you abandon that too. The compass. It's like having a compass that points north and south. You go into the forest carrying the compass with you, and it will still point north and south. But suppose that the day after you go into the forest, you open your compass and decide that the south end of the needle is pointing west, and the north end of the needle is pointing east. That's when you have to realize that it's just a matter of your own thinking. You're thinking wrong. The needle's still pointing north and south all the time, but you understand that it's pointing east and west. You know, and you follow this kind of knowledge. But it's an issue of your thoughts, which you can dissolve. An issue of your feelings, which you can dissolve. The compass is always pointing north and south, but you feel that it's pointing east and west. The mistake is with you. The saltiness of salt. Buddhism is like salt. Salt is always salty. Whoever eats it will find that it's always salty. Whoever doesn't eat it won't taste the saltiness. In the same way, Buddhism can't degenerate. People degenerate. Buddhism doesn't degenerate. Some people see monks behaving in a bad way, and they blame Buddhism. It's like a person who doesn't eat salt and complains that salt isn't salty. Actually, the saltiness of salt is there all the time. If anyone eats the saltiness will appear. That's the way it is with Buddhism. Lead versus gold. I'll ask you a question. Suppose there's a hunk of lead weighing 1 kilogram and a hunk of gold weighing 1 kilogram. If you were to ask people to take one of them, which one would they take? It's the same with your son deciding to ordain for life. He sees that ordaining has more value. He sees the whole world as a hunk of lead with no value. That's why he doesn't want it. It's the same as you're wanting the kilogram of gold and not the kilogram of lead. Why? Because the lead has less value or no value at all. That's why you decide to take the gold. The thinking of earthworms. These days, Thai people are ordaining less and less. I don't know why. Whether it's because of their work or because the world is developing, I don't know. In the past, people would ordain for at least 4 years, 5 years. But now there are people ordaining for 7 days, 15 days. There are even people who ordain in the morning and disrobe in the evening. It's because of this sort of thing that Buddhism will disappear. Some people say that if people ordained the way I say, 3 or 5 years, the country wouldn't develop. We'd run out of people staying at home. There wouldn't be anyone making a living. We wouldn't be able to keep up with the world. So I tell them that this kind of thinking is the thinking of earthworms. Earthworms live in the dirt. They've been eating dirt from the very beginning. But even though they keep on eating, they're afraid that they'll run out of dirt. So when they excrete dirt, they put it up next to their heads to eat, for they're afraid they'll run out of dirt. This is the thinking of earthworms. People who think that the world won't develop, that it'll come to an end. That's the thinking of earthworms. Neither large nor small. This bell here, do you think it's large or small? A layman answers, small, sir. Small, eh? It's not large. Is that how you see it? This bell is a physical phenomenon. Your feeling about it is a mental phenomenon. There's a physical phenomenon and a mental phenomenon. Your mind, your intention. Craving can want to make this bell larger right now or smaller right now. All of you sitting here. When you look at this bell, it's hard to answer. You don't know whether it's large or small because there's nothing else to measure it against. If you put an alms bowl right here, you'll see that the bell is small. It's not large anymore. But if there's no arms bowl, the bell is large. Why is it like that? Everyone who says the bell is small wants it to be larger than this, and so the bell gets smaller. But actually, if the bell stands here by itself, it's not large and it's not small. It's just as much as it is. What makes it large or small, if not craving? The desire for it to be smaller or larger. The bell itself is neither large nor small. It's just the way it is. Why? When we understand that the movements of the mind have to be the way they are on their own, that's the way they are. They don't why anyone at all. The problem is that we latch onto things. It's like water flowing. It flows along in its waterway. If you latch onto it, asking why it flows, you give rise to suffering. If you understand that it flows in line with its own affairs, there's no suffering. Grabbing hold of a dog. Even when you see that something is true, you can't grab hold of it. It's like a dog. Try grabbing hold of a dog's leg without letting go, and it will turn around and bite you. Or a snake. Try grabbing hold of its tail, grabbing hold without letting go. It'll simply bite you. So don't hold on. Let it go. Put it down. It's the same with conventions. We act in line with conventions, but we're taught not to grab hold of them. They're there to use, to provide us with conveniences so that we can live. They're not there to grab hold of them, to latch onto them to the point of giving rise to suffering and stress. The things that you understand to be right, if you latch onto them, you separate your mind into two parts, because your views have turned wrong. When the bees leave the hive. When we see emptiness, the king of death can't catch up with us. Death can't reach us. Why? Because there's no us. There are just piles of form, piles of feelings, piles of perceptions, piles of fabrications, piles of consciousness, that's all. So where's the person? Like that beehive over there. If all the bees leave and you try to take the hive, will you touch any bees? No, because it's empty. All you'll touch will be the beeswax. You don't know where the bees went because they don't live there anymore. That's how the Buddha taught. Take your views outside of self in that way, and you run out of questions. And not only do you run out of questions, there are also no answers. No questions. No one to answer the questions. That's where everything runs out. You know what it's like when things run out? Running out means there's nothing there. Eating out of the shit pot. To see things as empty means seeing that there's nothing there. You see that this spittoon is there. You see a cup and a plate, and the cup and the plate are there. It's not that they're not there, but they're there in emptiness. They're empty. If you ask this spittoon what it is, it won't answer you, because it's not anything. You can call it a spittoon if you want, but it's just your supposition. Or you could call it a pot. It's still just a supposition that you've made. Its actuality is there's nothing to it, but we grab onto it and hold onto it firmly. I'll give you an example. Suppose there are two groups of people. One group intelligent, the other group stupid. They go to buy things in the market. The stupid group doesn't know anything, so they buy a shit pot and use it to fix rice. Because they don't know anything at all. The intelligent people see that, and they get disgusted. How can they use a shit pot as a rice pot? It's disgusting. Why do they find it disgusting? The shit pot is still new. It's never been used, so it's like an ordinary pot. It's still clean. So why are they disgusted by it? Because they hold on to the idea that it's a shit pot. That's all. Actually, it's just an ordinary pot. They suffer and get disgusted because they cling to their ideas about it. So with these two groups of people, which one is really intelligent, which one is really stupid? The pot is just an object, an ordinary pot that we suppose to be a shit pot, so people get disgusted by it. If you put curry in it, they get disgusted. Put rice in it, and they get disgusted because of their wrong views, stuck on suppositions. The parts of a knife. This knife placed here, it has the edge of its blade, it has the back of its blade, it has its handle, all of its parts. When you lift it up, can you lift just the edge of the blade? Can you pick up just the back of the blade? Just the handle? The handle is the handle of the knife. The back of the blade is the back of the knife's blade. The edge of the blade is the edge of the knife's blade. When you pick up the knife, you also pick up its handle, the back of its blade, and the edge of its blade. Could it split off just the edge of its blade for you? This is an example. When you try to take just what's good, what's bad comes along with it. You want just what's good and to throw away what's bad. You don't learn about what's neither good nor bad. When that's the case, you won't come to the end of things. When you take what's good, what's bad comes along with it. They keep coming together. If you want pleasure, pain comes along with it. They're connected. Knowing in between. It's like going up on the roof or coming down to the floor. When someone climbs up there, he gets on the roof. When he comes down to the floor. If he climbs up to the roof again and falls down, he falls down to the same floor. That's all that most people know. No one knows being in between, because there's nothing to measure it. When they say that in between there's no state of becoming, we can't point it out. We can't point it out because there's nothing to mark it. The questions we have to answer are the questions of the practice. Students, for the most part, want to know what merit looks like, what evil looks like, how many leaves there are on a tree, how many roots. If you want to know that sort of thing, the Buddha would probably say you're stupid, because all you really need to know is a single leaf. Every leaf on a rubber tree is just the same with the roots. All you need to see is a single root, and it's the same with knowing people. If you really know yourself, that's enough. You know every person in the world. When the cabinet is done. I want us all to have endurance, enduring until there's no more endurance. In other words, as soon as you see the truth, you let go. When you let go, you see peace arising. When peace arises, you don't have to practice, because you've finished practicing. It's like a cabinet. Before it was a tree, but there was a problem that required making a cabinet. The tree was cut and shaped because there was still a reason to make the cabinet. Once the cabinet is finished and we've coated it with shellac and put it on display, that's the end of having to do anything. It ends right there in the cabinet. Before, this cabinet was a tree. Now it's beautiful cabinet. We can say that what once wasn't beautiful has turned into something beautiful. It's the same with all of us. All of us have been run-of-the-mill people. And not just us. Even the Buddha was just the same. He started out ignorant. That's how he came to know. Wherever there's dirtiness, there's cleanliness right there. When you wash that spot, the cleanliness doesn't arise anywhere else. Wherever there's disturbance, there's peace right there. Wherever there's wrongness, there's rightness right there. They're together, both of them, right there. Wherever there's greed, aversion, and delusion, there's lack of greed, lack of aversion, lack of delusion right there. Our own affair. Eventually, the teachings run out. When you know causes, you let go of causes. When you know results, you let go of results. So where will you stay? Above causes and beyond results. Above birth and beyond death. That's where you stay. You stay where everything is ended and runs out. The mind is at peace, away from causes and results. At peace, away from birth and death. At peace, away from pleasure and pain. It stays in peace like that. There are no causes and effects right there. Once you're above causes and beyond results, that's the endpoint of what we're practicing. We aim right there. That's why the Buddha taught only that far. After that, what we practice is our own affair. Where we continue to go is our own affair. He taught only this far. He has a boat and an oar, and he gives it to us, both the boat and the oar. If we paddle with it, the boat will go forward. If we don't paddle with it, the boat stays where it is. It's our own affair. In the cage. Whether we're happy or sad, feel pleasure or pain, cry or sing, as long as we're in this world, these things happen in a cage. We don't escape from the cage. Even if we're wealthy, we're in a cage. If we're poor, we're in a cage. If we cry, we're in a cage. If we dance, we're dancing in a cage. Which cage? The cage of birth, aging, illness, and death. It's like a mourning dove we keep in our home. We simply listen to its song and we praise it. How pretty, the sound of my dove. My dove has a low voice. My dove has a high voice. That sort of thing. We never ask the dove if it's enjoying itself or not. We give it rice to eat and water to drink, but everything is in the cage, and yet we think that the dove is satisfied. Have we ever stopped to think, if someone gave us rice and water and put us in a cage, would we be happy? In the same way, we're caged in this world. This is mine. I have this. I have that. All kinds of things. But we don't understand our own condition. Actually, we're gathering stress and suffering into ourselves because we don't look deeply into ourselves, in the same way that we don't look deeply into the dove. It looks like it's living comfortably. It can drink water and eat food, and we think that it's happy. The same with us. Even though we live in extreme pleasure and comfort, once we're born, we'll then have to grow old. When we're old, we'll then have to grow sick. When we're sick, we'll then have to die. This is suffering. This is the way we suffer. Filling the glass. The way that people think once they're born is that, having been born, they don't want to die. Is that the right way to think? Take this glass here. If we pour water into it and yet don't want it to be full, if we keep on pouring water into it and yet don't want to be full, can we get what we want? It's the same with people once they're born. Once they're born, they don't want to die. Is that kind of thinking right? If things could really be that way, with everybody born and not having to die, we'd suffer even more than we do now. If nobody born into this world ever died, we'd all be eating one another's shit. Where could we go to get away? It's like the water in this glass. Can you keep on pouring it in without wanting the glass to be full? That's the way it is with the world. Get things into perspective. You can't want not to die. That's the way it has to be. Mindfulness of death. If you were to break the law, and in 7 days they were going to execute you, how would you feel? If you were sentenced to death, and in 7 days they were going to execute you, what would you do? I want you to reflect on this. As you are, you're already sentenced to be executed. Simply that you don't know how many days you've got left. It might even be less than 7. Do you have a sense of this? You're already sentenced to death. They're going to have to execute you, but if you don't know, you don't feel anything. But if you were to break the law and the authorities were to catch you and execute you in 7 days, oh, you'd really suffer. This is mindfulness of death. Death is going to execute you in just a day or two. When you're not aware of this, you relax. You have to think in this way so that you give rise to the conviction needed to practice the Dhamma. That's why the Buddha has you practice mindfulness of death at all times. Normally, when you think of death, it scares you, so you don't want to think about it. And when that's the case, how can you not be stupid? You've already fallen into that condition, but you have no sense of yourself, so you relax. But if you come to your senses and contemplate mindfulness of death at all times, you'll hurry up and make the effort to escape from danger. How can you just sit there? If you were to break the law and in 7 days they were planning to execute you, could you simply take it easy? You'd have to hurry up and find a way out.